Yo, you listen to More About Something Else. My name is Joshua, and I just want to say thank you once again for listening. But on this episode, we discuss social media, stuff that goes on social media, and social media again, and a little bit of talking about Agent Orange, our beloved president. But here's a clip from the show. Like, social media is so cool. Like, you can connect with people. Like, there's so much positive behind it, but there's things that we don't realize what's going on. Suicide rates are up, depression is up. Big Pharma it's like they having a sell on antidepressants, but we all here worrying about somebody else's life. It bothers me because it's like people are miserable and they're okay with being miserable. And now that you heard that, let's begin.
First off, I'm going to have to ask you to go and rate this show, maybe even leave a comment. And you could do that on iTunes or SoundCloud, and for Android users, you can now listen via Google Play. Now, this podcast may contain explicit content, just saying, so open your mind, relax, and listen to this dope-ass podcast.
For thought coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Hey, food for thought coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest.
If people don't understand that, well, they don't understand nothing.
Truth spilling, leaving victims to my honest ways. I come in peaks like an alien from outer space. Internet pirates riding waves on your webpage. Download the shit, click the link, press play. I don't mean to pray, but I pray every week for myself, for my fam, cause we all gotta eat. Protein, no more sweets. Till I'm caked up on the beach in Belize. Food for thought coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Wait, food for thought coming fresh, I'm the chef. I got greens for your brain, have a taste, it's the best. Food for thought from the flesh, tag along on the quest to find more about something else. Wait.
Yo, you're listening to More About Something Else. My name is Joshua. And, I just want to say thank you to anybody and everybody that's been rocking with this show. Truly appreciate it. And if you like the show, please like it, review it, share it. You can do one or you can do all three. Either way, I truly, truly appreciate it. And please, if you like sports, please check out More About Sports on Apple, on Google. Hey, do you actually know that Google has their own podcast app? If you have the Google phone, not the Google phone, but like an Android phone, Google Play Store, they have their own podcast app. So you can download that and you can get podcasts straight through there. Like, I don't know how their interface works, but it's available. And you can get on SoundCloud, YouTube, you name it. But anyways, we're here in July. And you already know. The question that follows that is, yo, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? Are you living your truth? Are you living your best life? Have you seen any type of growth? I've been going back on my word on certain things because I found a new meaning behind it. And I feel like it's okay because it's growth. You're supposed to go back and look at things and try to figure out why, or understand something from a different perspective is probably what I'm trying to say. So we have vision boards, right? I'm not for it. Really not for it. I'm not a visual learner. I guess you could say. I don't know. I feel like I learn in all aspects, but visual is just not my thing like that. Cutting out pictures from a magazine is, I don't know. Maybe that's just not for me, and maybe that's for somebody else. But I feel like you owe it to yourself to do certain things. And sometimes you won't ever realize that you're doing these things unconsciously, but you are. The whole thing about having a vision board is that you want to grow. Like, it's all personal stuff. Like, you don't want materialism. You want to grow. Vision meaning that you want to grow. You want to grow in the future, if that makes sense. I have my own board, not gonna lie to you, but I have writings. I have things that I want to accomplish this year, whether they were personal, and slowly but surely I've realized that I've been taking them down and I've been accomplishing things that I said I was going to do. Look, I had a rough beginning of the year, really, really rough. And here we are. Like, I don't consider myself perfect. I don't consider myself to be higher than anybody else because I go through hell. But I get that shit done. That's the difference. So getting things done is where I'm like ending this. Like, it's very, very important that you grow as time progresses. Because there's one thing that I realized about just life and time is like, I'm watching my parents grow. Like, I'm watching them get older, and I'm getting older. Like, it's a surreal feeling because it's just like, the things that you saw your parents doing, you're doing. Like, it doesn't really feel real to me that I'm going to the grocery store by myself to go get stuff, or driving, or just doing things that I find interesting without my parents, because I've always had my parents there to guide me. But now it's like my parents are too old to do certain things. You get to pick your parents' brain just a little bit as you get older. You're making decisions by yourself. Like, very important. So it's very important that you grow. It's very important that you realize and you're aware of what's going on as far as timing, because it's very important. A lot of people say, life is too short. It's not. Like, it's really not. You have time to grow. You have time to do this. You have time to do that. But anyways, things that bother me this week. And I guess you could say because I broadcasted an episode from years ago, 2 years ago, maybe. So these things have been harboring up. And I guess you could say like it's maybe 2 or 3 things, but they all relate back to social media. It really bothers me about social media. It really does. I said that I went on a cleanse. I don't want to even call it a cleanse. I hate the word cleanse. I guess you could say I stopped using it for a while. It wasn't long, but I definitely noticed some things. So I stopped using social media, and I don't know, life became a little bit better, right? And it's not to say that I'm sad, not to say that I'm miserable, but it's very important to realize what's going on, right? So, number 1, get on social media every day. Like, we're not really taking the time to think about how much we're wasting our lives on, Like, social media is so cool. Like, you can connect with people. Like, there's so much positive behind it. But there's things that we don't realize what's going on. Suicide rates are up. Depression is up. Big Pharma it's like they having a sell on antidepressants. But we all here worrying about somebody else's life. It bothers me because it's like people are miserable and they're okay with being miserable. Let's not get things misconstrued. Like, social media is an app. To me, I prefer it as entertainment. It was never supposed to be about my life. It was never supposed to be about anything else. And that's it. Like, I don't get it. Like, how people were upset about how Drake didn't post his picture of his baby, that he's a deadbeat dad. And I'm like, come on, dog. It's not that serious. Like, there's certain parts of somebody's life that you don't have to see. But that's not even what I'm trying to get at. I hear things. People are outraged on certain things. And it's very, very sad to see that people are outraged on headlines instead of actually reading the article. Or people cutting video clips or audio clips to prove a point. But the people that get outraged, they only listen to the clip and not the whole thing. It's the same thing with the Kanye situation. When Kanye went to TMZ, you only saw 2 minutes. That's as long as your attention span lasts. But there was a whole 33-minute video that you could have watched and understood a little bit more. And that's the thing, like, people just don't want to understand anymore. It's no knock to you, Just want you to be aware that this is what we call mental illness. You know, you get outraged on the little things. People are so sensitive, and it bothers me. Because it's just like, yo, we better than this, you know? We really are. People like to talk about this generation like it ain't shit. I don't know. I feel like every generation is the same. We're just more aware of things. Or your eyes begin to open. It's like, you know, say everybody's having kids. Well, what do you think that they were doing without the internet, you know? There was grown men that had families in 2 different cities. Then the families found out like 10 years later, or when homeboy died. I feel like that's equivalent, right? But it's very important that you understand the media, they prey off of outrage. They like to sell fear. They like to sell outrage, and this is what we react to. Same thing that happened with the immigration thing. It's very important to realize that those clips, those videos, those pictures were taken 2014. Why did they post it right then and there? They could have been blasted Obama. That's the crazy part about it. Oh, I mean, if you don't understand about that whole little immigration thing, like, I want you to actually research it. It's very important to know that, you know, you can't really just get mad at just Trump. You have to get mad at the whole government. But I don't know. Besides that, when I watch the news, I look at it and I'm just like, y'all talking about the same thing over and over and over again. What are you going to do about it? You know? The crazy thing about it is that we have the opportunity to make things better. But the lie sounds so much better than the truth in this situation. But I don't know. It bothers me. Because I'm just like, we're better than this. Next thing that I'm mad about, or that bothered me, is just this whole Trump thing, you know? Trump said a couple things about Putin and Russia and whatever. This dude is stupid. Well, I don't even think he's stupid. Like, he's like, I just don't think that he's self-aware of what's going on. Like, he looks like an idiot, but he's okay with looking like an idiot. But my whole thing about it is, like, everybody is mad now because he's saying stuff that he shouldn't be saying. Even his supporters. And I'm just like, yo, this is who you picked. And everybody was okay with it. You know, the crazy thing about it is that y'all didn't want Bernie, you know? And as much as I don't really like Hillary, y'all didn't want Hillary either. But when you realize that you fucked up, don't say we as America. Because we as America didn't even participate if we look at statistics. So we're in this situation where Trump is on the brink of getting impeached. And I want you to actually think about it long and hard. Do you want Trump impeached? He sounds stupid, but I want you, and I challenge you, to understand how the government works. The president only has so much power. What you need to worry about is Congress. What you need to worry about is Senate. What you need to worry about is the House of Representatives. The government works all together and they produce things, but we're all here getting mad at somebody that really doesn't have anything to do. He's just stupid. You know? Like, people getting mad at Trump. But watch. A lot of people said that Obama didn't do anything in office. And now that you see that they're repealing every little thing that Obama did, you just say, oh, you know, he really did do something for us. And it's crazy to me because it's just like, we get to see what happens in the government right now. Like, this is the most transparent we've seen the government. So the price that we pay for 4 years to see what we can fix in the next 4 years, because remember, America voted for Trump. The results don't lie. America voted for him. So what are we going to do about this? You want to impeach him? Because once you impeach him, you fooling with Pence, or you fooling with Paul Ryan, or whoever decides to become president after this. Because hey, more than if Trump go down, a lot of people going down. But whoever decides to come out of this, and then the government goes back into privacy, we don't hear about things that's going on anymore. So what are you going to do about that? Because if you truly care about your well-being and your children and your family, then you'll think about it. I'm not saying we should keep this dude in office, because this is on y'all, you know, or whoever voted for him. Like, this is on y'all. Homeboy's going back on his word. Just think about it, you know? I don't know. Pay attention to what's going on. Literally, the government can change. You know, midterms are coming up in a few months. Pay attention. That's all it takes. But, you know, those are the things that bother me. Say, man, if you really like the show, and I assume that you like it because you're still listening to the show, but if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, please, 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 you know, write us a review. You know, it helps people find the show, for one, and it also gives people an idea of what's going on in the show without actually listening. So, you know, it attracts other people, and I'm just asking, you know, if you don't want to, it's cool. If you do, God bless you. Now back to the show. So I want to backtrack, right? I actually want to expound on something that I said earlier about just like life and stuff, and how it's a surreal feeling to be doing certain things, like making your own decision. You know, when you get into your, you know, early 20s, hopefully not your late 20s, because that's kind of weird, but you're making your own decisions, right? You're living your life for you. So I throw out this question, you know, 10 years ago, where were you? What was going on? What were you going through? I think like, damn, 10 years ago, what was I going through? It was a lot, you know, a lot of heartbreak, dealing with family issues. Like, I was dealing with that. But just bring that up to, like, say that things shift, you know? I've been reflecting on my life for, you know, quite some time now. I feel like it's very important to do it. I may do it too often, but that's maybe like a self-coping mechanism, like, because so much has happened to the point where it's just like, look, if I tell you certain things about me, you're just like, you know, like certain things that happen in my life, and it's a lot of funny stories, a lot of bad stories, a lot of things that could have ended up with a twist, and like, I wouldn't be here, right? Now, I'm only saying this because I can only speak for myself. I don't have anybody here to talk about it with, you know. I don't have anybody else to talk about their own experiences, but it's very important. I thought my life was going one direction. You know, I was going to go get full ride scholarship out of state, go to Duke or Ohio State or Oklahoma State, you know, some random school, you know, maybe even UCLA or UC Berkeley. I don't know. But anyways, just things like that. Like, I thought my life was going in that direction because that's the way society tells you to go. Society tells you to go from high school to college, maybe an internship, but straight to a job. That's exactly how they tell you. And it bothers me because it's just like, it's like we're in this loading zone where I don't know what this area, it's like a gray area because it's just like you graduate from college, right? But it's like you don't have a job, you know? Some jobs require you to move, like if you're actually looking out of state, because drastic things happen, Sometimes you do have to move out of state just to get a job in your profession for something that you studied hard for. Sometimes you do have to do certain things. Sometimes it has to go a certain way. But this gray area where it's just like you thought that it was all supposed to be peachy, I know for sure that you find your college sweetheart, because you watch like Stomp the Yard or something else, and you're just like, oh, so I'm supposed to find my bae in college, and we're gonna graduate together, and we're gonna live happily ever after. We're gonna get married at 25, and we're gonna have kids at 28. Look, I'm 25. I'm not trying to have no damn kids. Not right now. I can wait. I want to live my life. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's this big gray area. And on top of that, who would have known that the information era would have like popped on us, and social media is here, and that's taking a toll on our lives right now? Who would have thought that? But we're here, living it, live. And it sucks because we're in this gray area. We don't know who we are. I don't want to say we, but it's like, it's really hard to figure it out. The way life was perceived to be, that it was going to be all good once you graduate. A lot of people say it's all going to pay off once I graduate, but you're in this gray area. You're applying for jobs, or you're applying to medical schools or law schools, and you're getting denied. It takes a toll on you. It's a lot of trauma that you got to deal with. And then you got to live your life, You just graduated out of college, and a job is asking for 5 years of experience for an entry level, and they're only going to pay you $13 an hour. What type of disrespectful thing is that? One thing that people don't understand is that inflation really happened. Like, inflation happened to the point where it's just like you graduate from college on loans, $50,000 for a job that only pays $38,000, and then interest on top of that. So there's an issue here. There's an issue here. It's a big difference. You owe more than you're actually going to be earning. That's if you get a job. And on top of that, you go to these job interviews because you feel like you're highly qualified because you went to go get this piece of paper that they said was really, really important in life. But they turn you down. I've always been wanting to say, maybe that job wasn't for you. But that shit hurts. It hurts when people deny you. They don't even call you back. They say they went with another candidate. I'm just like, come on, dog. Like, we had a good interview. Trust me. I've been through that whole situation. That shit sucked. That's why I'm bringing it to attention, because it's just like, we're in this gray area. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we want. But we're here. And the crazy thing about it is just like, a lot of people are in professions that they don't want to be in, Like, I feel like as an adult, as a parent too, well, I'm not a parent, but like, as I'm going to be a parent, I'm not going to give up on my goals. I'm not going to give up what I believe or whatever just because I had kids. Like, you want to be an example to your children. Like, the one thing I don't appreciate about the generation before us is that, they're not even living in their truth. They always say go the medical route. I mean, as an immigrant family, or just in an immigrant environment, they always say go medical, go engineering, go law, because they bring in money. They do. They truly do. But I don't want to sit there, struggle, go to school, graduate, get that job, and I hate the job. It just doesn't make sense. Now, a lot of people can say, well, you got to do what you got to do. No, it's not you got to do what you got to do. It's live your fucking life. Like, I know a lot of parents that will say, yo, you want to go to school for art? Nah, I'm not paying for that. Get out of my house. Or better yet, they'll disown their child. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? Because they don't want to go into medical school? Like, stuff like that doesn't make sense to me. But those are the type of things that put us in the gray area. You're stuck doing something to appease somebody else that is probably going to die in the next 30 to 40 years. Now you have 60 years to live and you're doing what? Something that you don't even like doing. But then you're going to tell your kids, yo, live your life, be the best that you can be. But you want them to go the medical route, lawyer route, engineering route. It's a cycle. It just doesn't make sense. There's other ways to live life. And that's where we are right now. The gray area. Because a lot of people are doing things that they don't want to do. A lot of people are not living the life that they want to live. And I'm not talking about social media lives. Like all that bullshit that people post about how they're living their best life. You're not living your best life, first of all, if you've only traveled in the States. You're not living your best life. Going to Panama City or Miami for spring break or going to Cabo, that's not living your best life. I don't know. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's not it. I don't know that. It's just certain things like that. But just thinking about it from another perspective, it's very important that you figure it out. And that's why I say, look, you have time right now. As far as money, yo, you gotta hustle. I personal train, right? But I bartended before. And I think it's very important to understand that if you're not a good bartender, you're not going to make good money. I used to walk out with $300, $400 a night. I think that was when I was most happiest with my life because, I paid my rent right then and there. I made my rent in 2 days, while some people are struggling to make their rent in 2 weeks or a month. Like, imagine, I only had to work 2 days to make this money. Now I can do everything else that I want to do. I can live my life. All I'm saying is that you got to hustle. Whatever it is, find your niche. There's a market out there for everybody. And I'm not saying that, quit your job, be an entrepreneur. No, that's not for everybody. Because if everybody decided to leave and do all these things like be your own boss, then it's going to fuck shit up. Some people aren't leaders. Some people aren't business owners. Like, it's fine. Some people are good workers. And that's fine too. But realize that if you don't know how to manage your time, somebody else will. It's very important that you understand that. It's very important that you understand that you find out what it is you like, I like a lot of things. And sooner or later, you're going to find out, like, there's different things that I like to do. There's different things that I put myself in just so that I can, like, be around just what I like. Because it's really important, to me at least. All I'm saying right now is, yo, if you're stuck right now in this gray area, figure it out. The crazy thing about it is that nobody can help you out but yourself. A lot of people like to turn to church or motivational speakers, friends, family. It all helps. It's temporary. And that's the thing. That's the misconception about church. It's just like, look, I applaud you for going to church. I applaud you because you turn to God. But everything is set in stone. It's just about your decision making. Everybody's going to struggle. But it's how you overcome your adversity that is very important. It's very important. But I don't know. Like, it's really up to you because even if we want to go from a religious standpoint, like, let's talk about how we ask God to do this, we ask God to do that. But the Bible says that even before you prayed for it, I already accepted your prayer. Like, everything that you want is done. That's 99.9% of the work is done. It's been set stone, put in place. It's just that 0.01. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's the work that you got to do. Like, it's minimal. It may seem like a lot to a lot of people, but it's minimal. And that's where I come down to making the right decisions. Trusting yourself, believing in yourself, stop overthinking. And that's the thing, I overthink about a lot of things. Always in my head, and that's fine. But you need balance. Whether you need somebody to calm you down, because I do have somebody that calms me down. I truly appreciate that person, truly. I just think it's important, Like, I fear for people because they're not going in the right direction. And I see it, but who am I? I don't want to be this person that's like always trying to save people because I'm trying to save myself. So then what am I going to do? I have this ability to put out what's on my mind right now on this podcast, but that's it. This podcast might not reach everybody that I wanted to reach, but I'm trying. But it's all good, People just need to realize that it's one step at a time. One step at a time. Figure it out little by little. That's why I always tell people, write down what you want to do. A lot of people say, well, nah, I got it in my head. Like, I got it. No, you don't. You go through too much for it to be all in your head. Some people don't even remember that they made a goal 1 year ago because they got new goals. But they didn't even accomplish the goal that they wanted to accomplish. Write that shit down. I always talk to people because it's like it's a manual. Like, if you ever have to install something that you got from IKEA, like some furniture, what are you going to do? You're going to look at the instructions. You are the creator of your own manual, whether you like it or not. But I don't know, like, think about it. So I like to take a pause for the cause. Hey, if you like sports, and I know some of you like sports, or even if you're not really that into it, and I don't want to say a woman, but like, if you want to learn about sports so that you can somehow have something to talk about with a guy, look, I started a new podcast. It's called More About Sports. And it's going to be under the branch of like More About Something Else. But we're here. It's official. It's about to open. And I just want you guys to enjoy it. So it's going to be strictly sports. It's going to be on all platforms. So go ahead and search it, subscribe to it, and enjoy. Now back to the show. So I'm reading this book, right? It's called Human is a Cell. It's a really good book. And one thing that pointed out to me is, it's pretty much a business book. It's like selling to people, and like we do it so much unconsciously that we're not really aware of it, and that's fine. But the book doesn't really talk from a selling standpoint. And there's one thing that really just like stuck out to me, and it's an application thing. It's talking about interrogative self-talk. And what that means is asking a question like in your head, can I do this? Like, let's say I'm going to take a test. Interrogative self-talk is to be like, can you pass this test? Because a lot of people try to pump themselves up, Trust me, there's a lot of things that I should have, it's a lot of tests I should have failed, to be honest. But asking yourself and answering that question, can you do this? Yes, I can. And I feel like that's important because certain people try to reach for different things, like external resources, when everything is from within. Like, it's very important to think about it in that aspect. Another thing that I also thought that was important about the book is that the book also talks about life, as in, let's say you're in sales, you're trying to sell something, you're having a bad time selling. You're at your job, you're actually doing something, but you're not doing it very well. Or just having communication with other people. It's not going so well. Two things that stuck out to me about that, because you can apply this to life, is that when negative things happen, you just have to ask yourself, first of all, is it personal? Second, is it permanent? Like, we like to think about things as if they're going so bad. Like, this person doesn't like me, so it might be because of me, like a personal thing. Or somebody said no, or I can't go here, I can't do this, I failed my test. It's like, is it permanent? No. Like, I freak out about things I shouldn't be freaking out about. But, it's just like asking yourself these questions, like, is it permanent? Is it pervasive? Is it personal? And even self-talk, asking yourself questions like, can you do this? Yes, you can. I feel like that's important because, we're in this era where a lot of people get scared. Fear is a real thing. Fear is good, but not if you let it kick your ass. And that's the thing, it's just like, if you actually just thought about life as if it was easy and let things go with the flow and not take things personal, then you would have balance. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but taking that and applying it to your life, things will change. But anyways, wrapping up the show, please, moreaboutsomethingelse.com. Check it out. More About Sports on your social media podcasts. More About Sports on all podcast platforms. If you like the show, please like it, review it, share it. Whichever one you want to do, I truly appreciate it. And I always like to wrap up the show with words of wisdom. A crossroad is better than a crossfire. Damn, somebody stop me. My mouth is on fire. But anyways, please check out the show, More About Sports. Once again, subscribe to the show if you haven't. But my name is Joshua, and I'm out.